Before the world even knew, a secret hidden for centuries was about to be revealed. What if everything you thought you knew about Adam and Eve was wrong? Imagine, for a moment, that the story of our creation was never meant to be as we've been taught. What if the truth has been kept from us, locked away in an ancient forgotten text? The Ethiopian Bible holds this key, a hidden narrative that will shake the very foundation of your understanding of creation, divine light, and our true connection to the Creator. For centuries, we've accepted the familiar tale of Eve being made from Adam's rib. But what if I told you she was not created from Adam at all, but from divine light, a force far more powerful, far more pure? What would that change about how you see the first man, the first woman, and the world they inhabited? This is not just a story, it's a revelation. In this video, we will uncover the truth about Adam and Eve's creation. A truth that has the power to transform your entire perspective on human existence and our relationship with God. We'll dive into the Ethiopian Bible's powerful account where Adam is not formed from just any dirt, but from sacred soil, a divine connection to the cosmos itself. And Eve, she is not the passive creation we've been taught to believe. Instead, she is made from the very light of God, a being of radiant power and unyielding strength. Why has this knowledge been concealed for so long? What truths have been hidden from us? And why are we only now beginning to understand their true significance? Let's explore this together, peeling back the layers of history to reveal the divine blueprint of humanity as it was always meant to be understood. Prepare yourself for a journey into the heart of creation, where light, divinity, and humanity converge in a way you've never imagined. As we explore this ancient story, you will find yourself drawn to a deeper understanding of who you really are, your connection to the divine, and the truth behind the world's most famous creation myth. So, stay with us until the very end, because what you're about to hear will not only change your understanding of Adam and Eve, it could very well change the way you view yourself and the divine presence that shapes your world. The Bible of Ethiopia is not just a religious book. It is a gateway to forgotten truths, ancient revelations that have been obscured for centuries, now begging to be unearthed. What if the creation story you've always known was a mere shadow of a far more profound reality? What if the first humans were not just mere creations of dirt, but were designed with sacred power and divine light woven into their very being? In the Ethiopian Bible, the story of creation diverges from what we know in the traditional Genesis account. Adam is not made from ordinary dust, but from sacred earth, a combination of the purest elements from the four corners of the universe. His creation is not simply a moment of divine intervention, but a cosmic event, where the very fabric of the earth itself is infused with divine energy. This is not a mere man walking on earth. This is a being whose very body hums with the essence of the universe, carrying with him the divine potential of all creation. Imagine, for a moment, the significance of this. Adam, a divine vessel, carrying within him the sacred elements of creation itself. And if Adam was this, then what of Eve? What was her essence, her very creation, formed from? Eve's story is not merely a reflection of Adam's. In the Ethiopian Bible, Eve is created from the purest light of God. She is not simply a rib, a byproduct of man's creation, but a vibrant force, an eternal being woven from divine radiance, a light so pure it could pierce the darkness of the world. Her creation is an act of divine grace, an infusion of light and spirit, destined to walk beside Adam, not behind him. This revelation strikes at the core of human identity. What does it mean to be human if we were created with such cosmic significance? If we were designed, not just from dirt, but from the very elements of the universe itself, touched by the hand of the Creator? If we are made from light, from power, from divinity itself, how does that change our perception of self-worth, of purpose? Could it be that we, too, are made to reflect that same divine energy, to carry the sacred light within us. Now, take a moment to reflect on this. If Eve, the very mother of all humanity, was created not from Adam's rib, but from divine light, then what does this say about the nature of women? What does it say about the sacredness of womanhood? Could it be that, in the ancient world, the role of women was seen not as secondary, but as equally divine? Could it be that the story of Eve as we know it has been misunderstood, misrepresented? That she was not created to be beneath Adam, but to walk side by side with him as a radiant, powerful being? This story changes everything about the gender dynamics we so often take for granted today. If we are to truly understand the divine nature of human creation, we must also look deeply at the feminine, at the divine light that was bestowed upon Eve. In these pages, we are not simply learning the history of creation. We are uncovering the profound truth about who we are and who we are meant to be. Each of us, born from the divine, each of us carries a piece of that light, that sacred energy. The story of Adam and Eve is not just an ancient myth. It is a reflection of our own divine origins, our true connection to the Creator. And this connection, this light, is meant to be carried forward, to be shared with the world. But the question remains, if we are born of divine light, why does the world sometimes feel so dark? Why do we sometimes feel so far from the Creator? The answer lies in the story of the fall, the moment when Adam and Eve lost their connection to the divine light within them. But there is hope. In the Ethiopian Bible, this story does not end in despair. The story of the fall is not a final chapter, but a turning point. It is an invitation, a call to return to the light, to find the path back to our divine origins. And that path, dear listener, is found not in seeking redemption from outside of us, but in rekindling the light within, in recognizing the sacredness of our existence and the divinity that lies dormant in each of us. As we continue on this journey of discovery, let us remember that the truth of creation is not something lost to time, but something still alive, still calling us to awaken to our true nature. Adam and Eve are not just characters in a story. They are reflections of our own divine potential. And as we understand the fullness of their creation, we begin to understand the fullness of our own divine nature, the light within, the power within, the connection to God that we were always meant to have. Now, as we look deeper into the narrative of Adam and Eve, let us not just view it as a myth of the past, but as a mirror to our own lives. It is time to remember the light we were born with, the divine essence that runs through our veins. What will you do with the light you were created to carry? Through this understanding, we can begin to rebuild. Just as Adam and Eve were part of a greater cosmic story, so are we. Our story is not over. It is unfolding. And it is time for us to embrace the divine light within and restore our connection to the Creator. The Ethiopian Bible offers a stunning portrayal of the relationship between humanity and God, one that transcends the boundaries we often place on our understanding of the divine. In this sacred text, God's presence is not an abstract concept or a distant force, but a vibrant, radiant energy that pulses through every living thing. God appears as light, a light that fills the heavens, surrounds the earth, and penetrates the hearts of those who seek it. This divine light, the very essence of creation, is the force that holds everything together. Adam and Eve were created to bask in this light, to walk with God in a world where divine presence was tangible, felt, and known. Their relationship with God was one of intimacy and communion, not distance or fear. They lived in a paradise where the lines between heaven and earth blurred, where they could walk in the garden and speak directly with the Creator. The Edenic vision described in the Ethiopian Bible is a reflection of how God originally intended for humanity to live, in harmony with the Creator, surrounded by the beauty and purity of the earth. experiencing life as a continuous dialogue with the divine. But this beautiful vision was not meant to last forever. The fall of humanity, as described in the Ethiopian Bible, is not simply about disobedience. It is about the loss of light, the loss of divine connection. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, they did not just sin against a command. They allowed the divine light within them to dim, and in doing so, they lost the clarity of vision, the divine guidance that had once been so easily accessible. Their choice to disobey did not come from a desire to rebel, but from the darkness that slowly crept in, a darkness that clouded their minds and hearts, blurring their vision of what was truly good and beautiful. This fall, as described in the Ethiopian Bible, was not merely a moral failure. It was a spiritual blinding, a loss of the divine radiance that made them one with God. They were no longer able to walk in the garden face to face with the Creator. They were cast out of Eden, not as punishment, but as a natural consequence of their spiritual blindness. Yet even in the midst of their fall, the hope of restoration is never far away. The Ethiopian Bible does not leave Adam and Eve, and humanity as a whole, in a state of despair. Instead, it opens a path to healing and restoration. The story of the fall is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new journey, one where humanity must search for the divine light once more, to awaken the connection with the Creator that was always meant to be. God's presence, His light, is never truly lost. Though it may seem hidden for a time, the light is within, waiting to be rediscovered. The journey of restoration is not about going back to Eden. It is about moving forward into a new understanding of who we are and what we are meant to be. It is about finding the light again in a world that often seems dark. It is about rekindling the sacred flame that burns within each of us and allowing it to guide us back to a deeper relationship with the Creator. This path to restoration is not easy. It requires humility, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront the darkness within. But it also requires the hope that just as the divine light was once given to Adam and Eve, it can be rekindled in our hearts today. The message of the Ethiopian Bible is one of divine grace and enduring love, a love that never gives up on us, no matter how far we may have fallen. And what of us today? How often do we find ourselves in the same position as Adam and Eve, blinded by our own choices, trapped in the darkness of self-doubt, sin, or fear? How often do we feel disconnected from the divine, as though the light of God has gone out of our lives? The story of Adam and Eve is not just about them, it is about all of us, and the journey we must take to find our way back to the light. We can all learn from their story, for their fall is not only a story of loss, but one of hope and healing. In their darkest moment, when they thought they were beyond redemption, God's light was still there, waiting for them to find it again. And so it is with us. No matter how far we fall, the light is still within us, waiting to be rediscovered, waiting to guide us home. The key to healing and restoration is not in searching for some external savior, but in recognizing that the divine light is within us all along. It is about turning inward, seeking the presence of God in the depths of our hearts, and allowing that light to illuminate our lives once more. It is about reclaiming the divine radiance that was always meant to be ours. And when we find it, we are healed, restored, and made whole. As we journey through this life, let us never forget that the divine light is always with us, always calling us back to our true home. Just as Adam and Eve were created from light, so too are we. And when we reconnect with that light, we reconnect with the divine essence that makes us whole. The story of creation is not just about the past. It is about our present, our future, and our eternal connection with the Creator. It is time to rediscover that light, to walk once more in the garden of God's presence, to know that we are divinely made and destined to walk in divine radiance. The journey to restoration begins today, and it begins with each one of us turning our hearts back to the light within. This is the message of hope, of healing, and of divine grace that the Ethiopian Bible calls us to remember. In the profound depths of the Ethiopian Bible, a hidden truth unfolds, a truth not merely about Adam and Eve, but about every single one of us. The story of their fall is more than a tale of disobedience. It is a journey of light and shadow, of profound loss and extraordinary hope. What is it that we have lost? And more importantly, how do we regain what was taken from us? The Ethiopian Bible teaches that after Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, they did not simply sin against God's command. They lost their ability to see clearly. The divine light that once radiated from within them began to dim, and they could no longer see the world as they had before, with clarity, with divine vision. They had lost their connection to the light that had made them one with the Creator. But here's the divine secret. The light was never truly gone. It was simply obscured, buried beneath layers of shame, guilt, and fear. The divine spark within them was still there, waiting to be awakened, just as it waits to be awakened in us today. Even in the darkest moments, the light remains within, waiting for us to return to it. How often do we, like Adam and Eve, lose sight of the divine light within us? How often do we allow the burdens of life, the failures, and the struggles to cloud the brilliance that was placed within us at the very moment of our creation? But there is hope. The Ethiopian Bible does not leave us in despair. It speaks of restoration, of redemption. The light can be found again. It is there, waiting to be rekindled within each of us. Restoration begins with awareness. It begins with recognizing that we have the power to choose again, to turn back to the divine light that is still there, buried beneath the darkness we've allowed to cloud our vision. The journey of restoration is not about going back to Eden. It's about moving forward, back into the light, into a deeper relationship with God. But what does this path of restoration look like? How do we begin to reclaim the divine light that we were born with? The Ethiopian Bible offers us a powerful insight. Restoration comes through a deepening understanding of our true nature, a return to the sacred essence we were created from. It is a process of awakening to the truth that we are not merely flesh and blood. We are beings of divine light, and this light cannot be extinguished by any darkness. The journey of healing begins with forgiveness, forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, and accepting that we, like Adam and Eve, have wandered in the darkness, but we are never beyond redemption. This divine light, once dimmed, can be reignited, not by our own efforts, but by the grace of God, who is always ready to restore us to Himself. It is God's love and mercy that heals, that brings us back to the light, that helps us see the world and ourselves as we were always meant to be seen, through the lens of divine love. As we walk this path of restoration, let us remember the profound lesson of Adam and Eve. Their fall is not a failure, but an invitation to rediscover the light within, to step out of the shadows and into the radiance that God has placed in each of us. We are not just children of the earth, we are children of the light, and it is time we reclaim the brilliance that was always meant to be ours. Through the Ethiopian Bible, we are reminded of the incredible beauty of our divine creation and the unshakable truth that we can always find our way back to the light no matter how far we have fallen. The divine light never leaves us. It only waits for us to remember. And when we do, we are healed. We are restored. We are made whole again. The light is always with us. It is within you, within me, within all of us. In the Ethiopian Bible, the fall of humanity is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter, one that holds the potential for restoration and healing. It reminds us that we are capable of returning to our true nature, to the light we were born with. And as we do, we not only heal ourselves, but also the world around us. For the light we reclaim shines not only for our benefit, but for the benefit of all humanity. The path to healing is not always easy, but it is always possible. No matter how far we have strayed, no matter how lost we may feel, the divine light is waiting to welcome us back. All we need to do is turn towards it, to recognize it within ourselves, and to allow it to guide us back to the Creator, to the love, to the peace that was always meant to be ours. This is the divine promise found in the Ethiopian Bible. The light is never lost, only hidden. And when we seek it with open hearts, it will shine once more, clear, bright, and whole. The journey of restoration begins with us, and it begins now. We are not alone on this journey. God's love, His light, His grace are always with us, guiding us, healing us, and bringing us back to the truth of who we were always meant to be. You are not alone. You are a child of light, and it is time to step fully into the radiance of your divine inheritance. So, let us take that first step today. Let us choose the light, choose to reclaim the divine essence that we were always meant to carry. The restoration is already underway, and it starts with you. In the stillness of the night, when everything feels distant and the weight of the world presses down, there's a quiet truth that remains unwavering. The divine light is within you. It's always been there, even in your darkest moments, even in the deepest struggles. That light is not some distant force. It is yours. It has always been a part of you, quietly waiting, gently beckoning you to remember. The story of creation, of Adam and Eve, of the fall and restoration, isn't just an ancient tale. It is your story. It is my story, and it is a story of hope, a story of light that transcends time. You see, we are often led to believe that the light is something we must search for endlessly, something that lies just beyond our grasp. But the truth is, that light has never left us. It is not something that we need to chase after. It is something that we need to remember, to reclaim from the very depths of our soul. The divine essence within us is not a distant dream. It is the very core of who we are. And once we recognize this, we begin to heal. We begin to restore ourselves to the divine state we were always meant to embody. The journey may be long. It may be difficult. We may face moments where the weight of the world seems to overwhelm us, but the light is never far. It is right here, in your heart, in your soul, waiting to illuminate every corner of your life. Every step you take towards embracing that light is a step towards healing, towards finding the peace, love, and joy that you were always meant to experience. You were created in the image of divine light, and you were meant to shine. Take a moment to reflect. Think of those times when you felt lost, when everything seemed uncertain, when fear and doubt consumed your mind. In those moments, what if you had remembered the light inside you? What if you had trusted that no matter how dark the night seemed, the light was always with you, waiting for you to acknowledge it? Now is the time to remember. The darkness cannot consume the light. It cannot. Every challenge you face, every trial you endure, is an opportunity for you to turn back to that divine light within. And when you do, everything begins to change. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind clearer, your spirit stronger. The light is your guide, your shield, and your strength. It will never abandon you, even when the world seems to have turned its back. You are never alone. If this video has touched your soul, if it has reminded you of the light you carry within, I invite you to share this energy with us. Like, subscribe, and become a part of this community that seeks to keep the flame of divine truth burning brightly in the world. Every little gesture, every bit of energy you contribute, helps us continue sharing the Word of God, bringing light to the darkest corners of the earth. Your support, Whether through a simple click, a kind word, or just the energy you bring, is priceless. It helps us keep sharing the message of love, healing, and hope. And, if you feel moved, share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know how this message has touched your heart, how it has reminded you of the divine light you carry within. Your words may inspire someone else who is struggling to find their way. Together, we can light the world, one heart at a time. But remember, the light we speak of is not something external. It is not something that can be found outside of you. It has always been a part of you, and it always will be. No matter what life throws your way, no matter the storms that rage around you, the light will guide you back to peace, back to joy, back to the love of the Creator. And you are the vessel through which that light shines. So as we part for now, let this truth fill your heart. You are never without light. It is there always, ready for you to recognize it. You were born to shine, and in this world that often feels so dark, the light within you is exactly what the world needs. Let it shine brightly. Thank you for being a part of this journey, for being a part of this light. Every moment you spend here, every word of encouragement, every prayer, is a gift, and for that, I thank you with all my heart. May you walk in the light, today and always.